Okay, I bet everyone is wondering what all of these items have in common. Well, what I'm going to do today in this video is I'm going to show you how to tie 5 of my favorite knots. And so in order to do that, I'm going to use a quick draw, a piece of fat wood, my mug, and a piece of rope. First thing that I want to show you, and I showed this in another video, this is a daisy chain. It's a great way to store rope. However, it is not one of my favorite knots, so I'm going to untie it right now. Before we get going on rope, there's a few things that I wanted to mention to you. First one is a little bit of nomenclature. This is what you call the working end of the rope. This is the end that you're going to be tying the knot with. This is going to be called the standing part of the rope. That's the part that I'm not tying the knot with. Way on the other end of this is going to be the standing end of the rope. It's again the end that I'm not tying the knot with. So let me show you some of my favorite knots. The first one would be the square knot. It's a great knot for tying 2 equal sized or closely equal sized pieces of rope together at the ends. This one is a very easy knot to tie. You simply go right over left, and then I take a turn underneath, and then you go left over right, and then you take a wrap underneath, and there is your square knot. You know that it's a good square knot because both ends come out on the top and both ends come out on the bottom. So that's your square knot. Next one that I want to show you is a bowline. And a bowline, I've got my working end of the rope here and my standing part. The problem that I always had with bowlines was which direction to make the loop, and I finally figured out a way to do it. So I have the standing part of the rope in my right hand, the working end in my left, and what I'm going to do is take my fingers and twist the working end away from me, and I'm going to make a loop. And that loop is the right direction so that when I follow the knot, the saying to remember this knot, which means the fox comes out of the hole, the fox goes underneath the log, and the fox goes back into the hole. Here's my loop, and then I simply pull this tight. There's my bowline. Now the bowline is going to be a lot stronger when you have this working end of the rope on the inside of the loop as opposed to on the outside of the loop. But it's a great knot for making a loop in the end of a piece of cordage, and it's also nice because even if you pull it down really tight, it still comes out fairly easily and it doesn't bind up on you typically. So that's my bowline. The next one is going to be a half hitch. Well, I kind of lied to you at the beginning of this video and I said I was going to show you my 5 favorite knots. I'm actually going to show you my 2 favorite knots, which are the square knot and the bowline, and my 3 favorite hitches. The difference between a knot and a hitch is a hitch needs something to put it around in order for it to maintain its shape. So this one I'm going to show you 2 half hitches. I'm going to use my handy dandy coffee mug here because it's got a convenient handle. And then the first half hitch goes underneath, back around, and then you pull it tight. That's 1 half hitch. In order to secure it again, I'm going to do the exact same thing, do a second half hitch, and there are my 2 half hitches. It's a great way to secure a rope to a post and have it stay in place. I also use this a lot when I'm putting ropes on my tarps and things like that. I'll secure the rope through the loop on the tarp or through the eyelet on the tarp in order to give me a foundation so I can tie my tarps out. So that's 2 half hitches. Next one that I want to show you is probably my all-time favorite. I use it more than most, not most knots, because it's great for tensioning the tie-outs on my tarps or on my tents. And it's really basically just 3 half hitches, but the way that you do them is important. This is called a taut line hitch. And the taut line hitch, you take a half hitch here, and then a second half hitch, but it is above the first half hitch. This is what's really important there. You got one on the bottom and then one on the top, and then you take a third one, which is all the way down, and then you go down and through. And then when you tighten this knot up, the beauty of this is I can pull really, really hard on this knot, and I'm pulling probably, 5 or 6 pounds of force at least. It doesn't slip. And yet, when I want to, I can slide it down very easily, or I can slide it up very easily by just feeding the rope through. And that's my taut line hitch. This one is just absolutely rockin' good for tightening down your tie outs on your tents or on your tarps. So that's my taut line hitch. The last one that I'm going to show you is a clove hitch. And the clove hitch, you do a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to tie it. The first one is if you're going to tie it around a post, you go around like this and then over the top. So I'm crossing over, and then I'm going to go under this first one, and that is my clove hitch. Okay, that'll hold onto the post and it's not going to go anywhere. Now another way to tie it, and this is one that's comes in kind of handy, especially if you're a climber and you want to put a clove hitch around the carabiner. So what I do here is I've got the working end of the rope here, a standing part here, and I'm going to make an overhand loop, take my fingers and twist away from me again. There's one loop. Same thing, I make a second loop, and then I just take the second loop, put it behind the first loop, and now I put it onto the carabiner, and there is my clove hitch around the carabiner. So those are my 5 favorite knots. I hope that it was clear on how I do them. I hope you learned something today. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, if you like the video, please like it. If you'd like to see more, subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends about my channel. And as always, be safe, have fun, and hey, take your kids camping. Have a great day, everybody.